An Imperial Valley mother speaking out after fentanyl claimed the life of her son, what she wishes she knew then, and a powerful message for the community.
That I love him.
Griselda Martinez, living with the death of her son, 29-year-old Benny Alvarado.
Obviously, it was a lot of pain, especially how I came to find out about the passing of my son. I felt guilty. I felt like I could have done more for him. But I believe that I know that our kids are lent to us, and it's our job to just raise them as best as we can.
Martinez says Benny was the oldest of 5.
Benny was actually born a day after my 15th birthday.
Growing up, he liked to write rap music, and he would often rap to them.
Like out of nowhere, if he was doing something or if he was against something, he would start making up his own rap.
But she says Benny started to drift away and hanging out with the wrong crowd, eventually in and out of jail.
I didn't get to see him actually doing the drugs, but I saw the effects. When he would come home, his attitude, his raging attitude, he would talk to himself a lot. It was just a lot of not my Benny.
Martinez says she recalls the day her son died like it was yesterday.
I do remember coming to church on Ross Avenue, and I saw my son walking towards Buckland Park, and it was right before the stoplight, and something told me, like, I just said, you know, God bless you and protect you. And I want to say that's the day it actually happened, where he went into an overdose.
She says she was out of town, and when she came back,
I received a letter in the mailbox from the county saying that my son had passed away and they were looking for a family member to, I guess, ID him, identify him.
Martinez says she wanted to know what happened to her son. How did he die and why did he die?
Came to know that my son had passed away on August 2nd, but he was in the hospital for 13 days on life support due to the overdose of fentanyl.
She says Imperial County coroner told her there were a lot of deaths due to fentanyl.
It was something out there in the streets. It's something that's more harmful than heroin, and to me it's like they just want a bigger high.
El Centro Police Department Sergeant Stephen Fisher says fentanyl is the biggest well-known drug on the street, taking over every other drug you can think of: meth, heroin, cocaine.
It's definitely an Imperial Valley problem. The numbers have just skyrocketed. Like I said, we very rarely come across heroin, needles, cocaine. I mean, the bigger cases where you're pulling over the cartel type quantity loads, but as far as local users and drug addicts, it's almost all fentanyl now.
Sergeant Fisher says there's even cases where high school students were caught with fentanyl pills. According to the U.S. Custom and Border Protection, in 2020 there were 79 fentanyl seizures at the port of entry in Imperial County. But just in 2 years, those seizures almost quadrupled to more than 2,200 seizures. Sergeant Fisher says in the last 90 days, the city of El Centro has had about 3 fatal overdoses and about 19 overdoses where the person survived. And 4 months ago, they had one of the biggest fentanyl seizures ever in Imperial County.
We had a 60-kilo seizure. I mean, that's over 120-something pounds of fentanyl pills from Mexico out of a duffel bag that they stopped somebody with. Well, 2 duffel bags, but I mean, that's enough. That's enough pills for the whole Imperial Valley to overdose.
I rode along with Sergeant Fisher, and he was able to show me some places around El Centro where fentanyl is more likely to be seen.
So they'll go to the methadone clinic in the morning whenever their appointments are. They're usually all out in front of the methadone clinic, but they're there to get their medicine so they don't go through withdrawals. And, usually you take your medicine, you would hope they would just go home or go back to where they came from, but instead they go across the street and buy fentanyl or heroin M30s, whatever they may be using, just to get high.
Sergeant Fisher says fentanyl is being sold everywhere and it's becoming a huge problem.
They're selling them in the schools, they're selling them at clubs, they're selling them at bars, selling them out of their cars.
The Imperial County Narcotic Task Force is currently working overtime to keep all kinds of drugs, especially fentanyl, out of the streets. Sergeant Fisher says the goal is to capture the bigger fish, the dealers, the sellers. Meanwhile, Griselda Martinez wants to raise awareness and sends a message to those who are addicted to this deadly drug that took her son's life.
I would say seek help. You know, there's family members, there's loved ones, there's people who truly love you and get affected, you know, by this drug that is so powerful that can make you lose your life, you know, and there's consequences and there's just so much opportunity to do other things, you know, become somebody, you know, never lose hope and always, you know, go after your dreams, you know, as whatever you had in mind when you were a little kid, just do that, you know. Don't think that there's not light at the end of the tunnel.
If you encounter suspicious activity, call the Activity Drug Line. To submit an anonymous tip, email tip.com or call your local law enforcement. Reporting from Imperial County, I'm Karina Basarte.